Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Adelante Hub, Business Hub, Digital Marketing, Online Sales, and Access to Capital Program, presented by the Valley Economic Alliance. As you guys saw, this session is being recorded. So we ask all the participants, they'll be put on mute. And if you have any questions, your hand, and Eric is really wonderful at keeping us on track and keeping an eye on that. So we have with us Erica Gass as well. Thank you. She's operations manager for the Valley Economic Alliance, and helps get a lot of these things going on. So I will be your host and presenter for today's program. My name is Armida Colmenares-Stafford. I am the first VP and relationships manager at Pacific Premier Bank. I'm also proud to serve as first vice chair of the Valley Economic Alliance. And I'm also chair of presenters too. I'll be speaking about access to capital. I have been in banking for over 30 years. I've held several positions in your area. At Bank of America, I manage over 28 banking centers. At U.S. Bank, I was the Hispanic lead. I also at one point tried to start up a bank. So got the bank to the approval piece, but unfortunately that was 2008. So we know what happened then. I've been on the executive team with both the Western Commercial Bank and Pan America Bank, and helped lead the recapitalized small banks as well, Mission Valley Bank, and
well, we lost her. Oh, there she is.
It was founded in 1995. It's the nonprofit organization. Together with business, government, education, and community organization, we work to engage and unite stakeholders to raise standards of living and drive economic growth across the San Fernando Valley. Our work is rooted in 5 key areas: economic development, educational and workforce development, livable and sustainable communities, marketing the Valley, and diversity, equity, and inclusion, where I serve as co-chair. Our Adelante series is designed to connect the Latino and Latina business owners in the Valley with access to key information, resources, and influencers that can help start and grow your business. Today's program, we will focus on power of digital marketing, increase in online sales, and gaining access to capital. So with that, we're joined today by Margaret Hernandez Brown, the award-winning founder and CEO of SocializeLA, a full-service digital marketing and training agency. With more than a decade of experience, Margaret leads marketing campaigns for companies nationally, helping their clients increase sales, brand visibility, and overall growth. In addition to serving as the digital marketing strategist for the National Association of Women in Business, Margaret is also that. I have Margaret here. Thank you for joining us, and take it away, Margaret.
Thank you so much, and happy to be here, excited to be here. I am going to share a slide here. Okay, so we don't have video on. If you have access to the chat while I'm pulling up the slide, if you can let me know on a scale of 1 to 10, how comfortable are you with, or how happy are you with the results of your digital marketing? Okay, maybe we don't have access to chat. Well, I am going to assume that there are some of us here who struggle with understanding or keeping up, staying consistent. Right before the pandemic, I did some research and I asked business owners, and it matters that I say that it's before the pandemic because people changed over the pandemic and realized how important their online brand was when all we had was online marketing. And but before that, I asked, what holds you back from doing more online and learning more, growing more, and getting your business more advanced when it comes to online marketing and business? And they said they don't know where to start, they don't know what to say, and they don't have the time. That would have kind of been my guess, but that's what my research showed me. And so when I teach, I try to focus on those elements because I know that at least all of us struggle with one or all three of those. And so today we don't have a whole lot of time. And so I wanted to kind of pick a topic around what's being taught in full today. So I want to just talk about the power of a strong brand. So the power of a strong brand needs to start with the question, do you value what people perceive about your business? Does it matter to you what people think about your business based on what they can see? And I think that's a really important question because that right there will divide people who still feel like maybe online marketing isn't the way, that there's other ways. And I'll be the first one to tell you there are other ways. And when it comes to any type of marketing of your business, you have to spend your time and resources on what you know works. But the thing is that if you don't start now, or if you don't keep going with your online brand visibility, it's going to be harder to get started. It's going to be harder to keep the momentum. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that in my last point about consistency. So just put a bookmark there. But yeah, the power of a strong brand can do so much for you. It shows that you're credible. Like people feel like they can trust you. It's crazy. If you see a company online that has an Instagram and a Facebook and they answer comments and they're posting, you almost feel more, you feel safer doing business with them because their brand is out there. They care what people think. And not in a bad way, but as business owners, I think we need to care a bit what people think about our brand. So we want to show up, not just consistently, but what are we saying? We want to have a great message. And not just a message of sales, not just a message of, buy my product, I'm amazing, but a message of like inspiration and community. And that's where relationship building comes in. So let me come over to this slide. Everyone can see this, right? Okay. So do you value what people perceive about your business? And also, if this is triggering anyone to think like, oh my gosh, I'm so far behind, I'm never going to catch up. That is the last thing that I want you to feel or see or do when you are hearing me speak. I want you to walk away from this feeling like, wow, there's hope. If I can get started now, there's a place anyone can start, that's what I want you to leave with today. So don't leave with, I don't want you to leave here overwhelmed, and I don't want you to be overwhelmed right now. If there's something that you should be doing, awesome. One of your action items after this will be to take action. But ask yourself, do you value what people perceive about your business? If the answer, depending on the answer to that question, then I ask you to take this over to your marketing and your sales and your brand development and do a comparison. Is what I'm putting out there what I want people to see and think about my company? And that's why you should do this. Not because I'm a marketer and I'm saying you need to market your business online. You need to do this because you know that it's important. Because once you know that it's absolutely important to your company, then you'll take it much more seriously. So the reason we should care and why we should act on it are these 3 principles. And I have been teaching this. So I've been in business for 14 years. So I started my company when, you know, it was like Facebook and LinkedIn might have launched. I mean, it was all so new. And the reason I even started my company is because I was in New York and I was working for a company, very successful tour company. And I was their sales and marketing manager. And I said, you know, I'd love to add chat to our website and launch a Facebook page. And they're like, no, that stuff is not, we're not going to waste our time there. So long story short, they didn't want to budge. And so I said, I want to start a company where I can help people connect to their customers. And here we are. And that was in the middle of the recession. That was like 2009. And you were talking about that. But I have talked about these 3 principles and nothing has changed. Like they evolve, but this is so important. The reason we should care and act is for anyone to do business with us, they have to know that we exist. So how are people finding out about us? Now, I'm all for in-person networking and I stand behind it. I even stand with regular mail, you know, if you want to send a letter or postcards. I'm not opposed to that, but we have this gift here where, you know, the internet gets a bad rap a lot, but for businesses, it has really opened new doors. And so visibility is incredibly important because people cannot do business with you if they don't know you exist. Okay, so they need to be able to find you. Credibility. I'm going to use an example that I think all of us will understand. And we've been there where someone, a trusted colleague, friend, brother, sister, sends you the referral of someone, whether it's a CPA, a pool cleaner, a mechanic. Many of us, and the number continues to grow every single day, many of us will do research even when we have been referred to someone. And so I'm not going to say that if someone refers business to you or refers you to someone else, that if you don't have an online presence that, you know, you won't be hired. That would be ridiculous for me to say that. However, you're not making the decision any easier for them. And the whole point of us as business owners who need to do our own sales is we need to make it really easy for people to say yes when we're the right solution to their problem. So your online visibility is 100% credibility. And I use that example because a lot of small business owners, many of us get new business from referrals. And that is a huge part of our business development. But I use that example so you can see that even then, people need to get to know you. They do business with those that they know, like, and trust. So super important. The last one, likability. So I'm sure many of us have worked with someone who is brilliant, but maybe you just didn't connect on a personal level, you didn't vibe, and just for some reason you had to dissolve that, you know, relationship. And that happens. We want to work with people that lift us up, that make us feel good, that brings sunshine and joy to our life. It's natural. And so your social media, your email marketing, your website can show a side of you that people can relate to. And at this bullet, I also like to say, this does not mean that you need to go out and dance on TikTok. If that's not you, that's not your brand, then you do not do that. You will not see me, I mean, knock on wood, I don't know, but not anytime soon will you see me dancing on a reel or TikTok. It's just not my thing. Does that mean I'm not marketing my business well? No, I'm just being true to who I am. Do I watch people dance? Sure. But yes, so likability is important, and not a likability to someone who's not you. It's just being yourself. It's yourself, and you're just showing your character. It's nice. Okay, the second column here, digital marketing versus relationship building. So I'm starting to move away from saying digital marketing and really start focusing on digital relationship building, because that is the point of all of this. The point is to build a connection between you and your potential client or your existing client customer. And I feel like it will help my clients and my students to like better grasp what they need to be putting out on the internet. And when I say relationship building versus marketing, when I say marketing, people, when we hear marketing, we think business, we think sales, we think advertising, we think selling our services. Relationship building, we start to say, oh, I need to build a bridge. I need to engage. I need to, ask a thought-provoking question and get people to respond. It changes what you say online. And that is really important, because showing up is excellent. That's half the battle. But how you show up is the second half to that. So very important. Okay, before I get to this third column, I wanted to bring your attention to the bottom and the top of this slide. So the top is my contact information, and the bottom is a discovery session. If you wanted to dive deeper into something that you are wanting to do, or you had questions before you ran a new campaign or wanted to start doing marketing, definitely check that out, because I would love to be able to help you a little deeper. And I won't go much longer, so we can have some questions, some Q&A. Okay. So this last column is consistency wins the game. And it's not just for the sake of being consistent. Okay, I have a post, motivational Monday, tip Tuesday. No, that is not what I am referring to. Because you definitely want to give a little bit of, you want to be pretty diverse in your content. I mean, you'll have overlapping themed days, but don't feel so compelled to do that. When I say consistency wins the game, consistency in your posting, and you are also looking back at the analytics of your post, identifying which types of posts were most successful with your audience, and doing more of those, maybe evolving those a bit, maybe going from just doing regular text posts to a text post with a graphic to now a text with a video, and now you're doing reels, and now you're going live. So the evolution, consistency helps you to evolve, because you start building on your skills. So you have to start somewhere, but then you just start to evolve. I love looking at my old marketing. there's definitely an evolution in Socialize LA. So being consistent wins the game. And the last thing I'll say on being consistent, and I teach this, I have a plan, I have a marketing planner that helps you to do what I'm about to say. And that's plan out the themes of your months or your quarters, and then focus on that topic for that amount of time. It'll help you zero in on, as an expert in your field, you can talk about anything. You'll just be overwhelmed. What do people want to hear? Well, in your well thought out plan, you said in October, we're going to be talking about, women's health. And so the whole month, you're just talking about women's health, mind, body, soul, whatever you want to do. But you give yourself some parameters. That way, as you start going through the year, you know what you're going to talk about. You're not as overwhelmed. You're showing up more prepared. So that will help you to be consistent. And yes, have some of those theme days. So know that you want to be motivational. You want to educate your audience. You want to empower them. And 80% of your content should be just that: community driven, educational, inspirational. 20% should always be sales. So 20% should say, sign up today, buy this, because you have to ask for the sale. You need to make sure that people know that you are open for business. So that is it for me.
Very informative. I have a couple of questions.
Mhm.
I deal with a lot of business clients. And one of them, I'm really very proud of them. They are in the custom jewelry business. And they dealt a lot with the retail stores. So they were very, going to the stores and all that, delivering. What they started doing a couple, maybe 4 years ago, is doing some of the first digital marketing, then taking some of the relationship they had with the vendors and really kind of working through online, and then trying to motivate them through that route, and then start really expanding that route. Well, with this whole COVID, obviously a lot of the stores closed, so that really would have taken them out of business. But because they were doing some,
That's awesome.
they were building relationships, as you pointed out, through the marketing and the retail.
Amazing.
That business continued to just grow and grow. And actually this year, they're eventually going to merge the previous one into the newer one. That's the digital part. And they also have, they've tried out different influencers that's going to promote their, they seem to be on the right track. Now I have another business that just is successful or successful with the merchandise that they have, and they're more on the makeup piece. And it's a family-owned business. They had it for a number of years, but they have no clue. They have a website. That's about it. But they really have no.
Can I stop you for just a second? I want to comment on your last client, because something that stands out to me is that during COVID, they were able to continue to grow their business because they had adopted this other way of doing business without in-person touching or whatever. That's what I mean by consistency wins the game, because consistency, like I said, it always causes evolution. So once you're consistent with something, you're like, okay, how else? Oh my gosh, like now I'm magically finding this other revenue stream. And that's basically what happened with a lot of businesses.
And you're so right. Yeah. And you know what? And to your point, I think they're not only evolved that way, but they also evolved from the type of merchandise also that they're dealing with, because they were able to really capture, additional relationships with additional clients. So now they're really they're not only doing the jewelry, but they really have evolved into additional accessories.
Yes, that's great.
Now they're got the phone cases. They got
Right.
now they just kicked off another
I think
side
we have a
business that's going to be more
question.
clothing related.
I think we have a social media question, if you don't mind me getting that. Do
Oh
you
yeah,
mind?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
How much time a week should be spent on posting? Okay, great question. So you need to ask yourself, how much time do you want to give your online marketing? Because posting is just like a tiny smidge. The even bigger part is engagement. So when you post, you don't want to just post and then not go back online. You need to connect with other people using similar hashtags or the hashtags that you're using, engage with your customers, engage with people who are engaging with you. So posting, yes, part of it. And I would say that could take you anywhere from 1 to 10 hours. It depends on your skill level. So that's kind of a long answer, but is everyone using Canva? Have we heard of Canva? Yes. Canva is your best friend, Erica, because you can create templates for yourself. You can have your color palette, your fonts and all of that. Okay, awesome, Brenda. Yes. Yeah, very, very good. It's such an amazing tool. And I cannot tell you how important it is to be a Premier member. I think it's like $150 a year, and they give you access to so much, like stock videos, stock photos, stock audio. So my team and I, we use Canva a lot for even creating reels and stories. So I made this slide that you're looking at right now in Canva. And all these elements were already in there. And like this digital marketing relationship building icon, all of those are custom, like all these colors are custom. So I just use my brand colors. So you could actually recreate this slide with your own brand colors, and it would be like a completely different slide. So Canva is amazing. So I would say, Erica, to your question, 3 hours a week minimum would be an amazing start. Because there, I think you could do like 3 or 4 posts, some stories, and then engagement. Then you have to think about, do you want to blog? Do you want to send out an email newsletter? And then add all that time on. Any other questions?
Well, follow up to Erica's question, is there a particular day or time that's best to post?
Every audience is different. I mean, you'll have to test it out. So start posting at random times and then see what your audience resonates with. At the end of the day, just be consistent, and then you'll have the data you need to make those decisions. I personally love sending emails on the weekends. I know that sounds crazy, but is there a perfect time to send something? No, there's not. There really isn't. It's just, I feel like Sundays I think people are less busy on a Sunday, but they're still checking their email because that's how crazy all of us are. So I think that's great for emails. I think going live in the afternoon is better, because during the day, I feel that when people are at work, they're less inclined to watch a video. Now, I think they're scrolling, but I don't think that they're actually listening to a video. But in the afternoon, I think maybe winding down, I don't know. I feel like I have a better show up in the afternoon.
Yeah, and what's happening with some of the work areas too, they're kind of blocking a lot of the sites and everything from the system. So you're going to be limited on having that unless they're using the phone, but then, you don't quite have the phone. So you're right. I think in the afternoon, it's
Yeah.
easier for.
And
for people to
again,
have
it depends on who your
to-
audience is. Maybe your audience isn't tied to a desk. Maybe they're also business owners who kind of manage their own day. So that's why it's so important to know who your people are so you can start thinking like them.
Yeah, and it was going back to the question I was saying with the client that has the very successful with makeup. What I was sharing with him is he's got the great products. However, he's counting still in the retail store. And I said, if you look at the younger generation, a lot of the items that they're buying is online through Amazon or through different things. They're not even going into the store.
Right.
So then he was like, how do I even get started? So is that someone that I would be able to refer to you, and then maybe you can guide him on how to start the process? Because
Absolutely.
it's great to have a great product, but it doesn't do you any good if it's like I tell him, it's not doing you any good when it's a hidden secret.
Oh yeah, I always say being the best, because people say we're the best kept secret, and it's like that's not something to brag about.
Right.
Yes,
The key is
absolutely.
getting it
And
out there.
sometimes it's just nice, to be able to ask a question like you're here today, and I know my session is wrapping up, or it should have already wrapped up. And you could ask a question that maybe you have really been wondering, and you just need a trusted voice. Like that's why it's important to have these partners at the bank, at the alliance, because they have connections to people that they trust, that they know, and that they've met. And I, hope to be one of those people that you feel that way about. And but that's why these types of events are so important.
Yes, agreed.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Erica, do you see any other questions? I don't see.
No,
Thank you
nothing
so
else on
much, Margaret. Yeah, I didn't see it. Okay, thank you. Well, thank you, Margaret, again for your information. And anyone that wants information on the chat, and you can visit her at the www.SocializeLA.com. So thank you for that. And now we're going to transition a little bit to my portion of the program, and that is, and I think right now is really crucial for the success of your business, for us to be able to know how to manage your money, and also having additional lending or additional funds right now to help you carry you through the next a few months with the challenge that we're having. I know I had a presentation. Are you guys able to put that up? Well, as they put that up, one of the things that's very important for you to know is the bank that's right for you. Just like we do anything else, know your audience. In this case, know what you want, and know the bank that's right for you. And by that I mean, for instance, we have the national banks. They do a really good job with the consumer market. They do a very good job with the lending on the residential loans and doing those kinds of things. You have my bank, for instance, Pacific Premier Bank. We are primarily focused on business clientele, so we do not even do residential loans. We let the experts do those things and be able to do that kind of lending. There's people that need let's say a hotel type of loan or hospitality. Not all banks are good at doing those ones. So you have like the previous bank I was at, commercial bank, they do a phenomenal job with the hospitality lending. So it's important to know, depending on the business you have, what the bank that you should bank with, because then it'll be easier for you to go ahead and build that relationship, build that partnership, and and then be able to be more successful with the kind of lending and products that you are going to need. The larger banks do an excellent job too when it comes down to if you have a business that's a distributor or a wholesaler and that needs a lot of for the importers credit. Don't do it. We don't have that program yet. As we continue to grow, I'm sure we would. But a community bank and a bank our size, we don't have the tools or the departments that handle that. You go to your Wells Fargo, your Chase, your B of A's, they're experts on it because they have locations globally. So keep that in mind as you do that. If you can go to the next slide, please. One of the things is they put the next products that are out there. So depending on what you're doing, if it's if you're starting a business, then most of the time it's not going to qualify under the regular banking traditional loans and products. Most likely in those ones, you're going to go through an organization. There's various government organizations out there or nonprofit organizations that help you get access to that, as well as having the SBA program. They have the Express program. They have womenly owned businesses, government grants, as you can see in here. So they really have various things, but note that you have access to money, access through capital, through those grants and through those organizations or government piece. We saw what a great job the PPP loans and EIDL loans did when we were having COVID issues that help a lot of the business go along. But right now, the SBA program, has the express loans and then the state guarantee loans. Not all banks do them. I know our bank does, but that's another form of having access to it. You saw the consumer products, as I mentioned to you. You have various lines. If you yourself are gonna need to make sure you pay your bills and stuff. I know it's very challenging again with inflation right now, gas pricing, food pricing, all those things. So it's hard. It's hard for people to make ends meet at this time. So in this case, they may be looking for, the personal credit cards, the reserve lines, the auto loans, making sure at this point it's best to use an auto loan versus using your own liquidity and your own funds, because you want to make sure you keep those on hand and have those for your liquidity. And as we mentioned, the residential loans and equity lines seem to be good. But going on to the commercial side, there's various type of access to capital. One of them is through the business credit cards. If you're a startup business, some question I get at time, how do I start or even start to build credit for a business? Well, one, you want to put a business name, set up a business name with a business ID number. You start with a business credit card. That's an easier process. And you also can get lines of credit through your own suppliers. Sometimes they'll have those what they call the trade lines. And it's a good thing because it helps you build credit, and it also helps you work out a deal. You can sometimes they'll let you pay for 30 days, 6 days, or whatever the case may be. And then the banks now are also doing what they call a quick qualifier loans or lines. And here's what I'm going to say about that. Please keep that in mind if you're a business client right now, because what's happening is some clients are starting to use their reserves and their funds. And unfortunately, with everything going as high as it is, they're running out of funds. So by the time they try to apply for the loan, they don't qualify, because the bank looks at the cash flow from the business. It also looks at the guarantor, saying how strong is the guarantor? Does the guarantor has enough net worth? Does it have enough liquidity to be able to make the payment in case the business does not? So it's important for you to analyze your business, see where you're at, and see what projected working capital you may need for you to be able to determine, we always say, get your line as you're growing versus when it's at the end that you're already in trouble and need it, because then it becomes more challenging for you to go ahead and get your line or your loan at that particular time. So there's lines of credits out there. There's, term loans, there, equipment loans, leases, and you see in this one, commercial real estate, construction loans, we do some of that. So if you can go to the next slide, please. We'll talk briefly about the lines of credit, which seems to be a good route for businesses, especially when they're looking for working capital and looking to buy short terms. And the business lines of credit work very much like a credit card. Usually the lines of credit, are secured by, UCC filing, by inventory that you may have. They're secured by the accounts, receivables that are out there. So those lines are available for you to be able to have better working capital or simplified. And it's a nice cash flow for you to have, because we know sometimes if you're on the buying and selling type of business itself, and you need to pay for your merchandise, so you need to come up with the money at that point, and obviously you don't get your income until you actually sell it, so you need something to help you as you go through that cash flow. Some owners, they end up using the personal credit cards, they end up using their personal equity line. Well, that doesn't help your established business credit under your piece itself, so under your business. So it's important, again, that you establish that business so you can grow and it doesn't affect your personal cash flow that you have. And like I said, that line is you're going to pay interest only when you use it, very similar to the credit card. And usually that business lines of credit will be around for 12 months or 24 months, depending on what you use as collateral. But it's a very good tool for you to have. There's the simpler product. It's a quick qualifying sort of a product. Either the larger banks or the regional bank like ours have them. The small community banks, it's a little bit more challenging for them to have a credit score product, because again, they cannot afford to take any losses through that, so they have to go through the full underwriting. Our product itself goes up to $500,000 line that you're looking for, or loan. If it's up to 25,000, up to 250,000, there are different levels of documentation that's required for that. But it really it doesn't go through a full underwriting. It's pretty much your basic simpler process, and it's less expensive than your regular revolving lines of credit. So banks will have that kind of a product that's very helpful, very useful. We see a lot of our clients in particular using that product right now, just to have that on hand, because again, since it's not really that time consuming, that large of the documentation, and the fees are a lot lower, they're putting that in place right now just so they can protect themselves as inflation continues doing what it's doing. And this way they can have that as a leverage or as a safe zone for them to use as they are continuing their own business for the next few months, and things like that. If you're going to buy an equipment and you need it, or you need to replace an equipment and things like that, then we just recommend just do more of a term loan. This way you don't have to worry about the line having to pay it up and down and the rates going up. This way you can fix the rate, set it up for 36 months, 60 months, they're up to 84 months, depending on what it may be. You speak to your banker about it, and it gives you the principal and interest payment, and then you're able to pay it down. Because the lines, like I said, it's more of a revolving piece, and in some cases you cannot, it has to not be used for 30 days. So it has a little of those restrictions versus the term loan, it wouldn't. So go ahead and use that. So what some of the clients are doing with us right now, that they're preparing, they're some of the real estate investors, they're actually refinancing their properties and taking cash out. And the reason they're taking cash out is because they want to make sure they have cash on hand, or they're setting lines of credit. But they want to make sure they have access to cash because, they're saying in the next 12 months, there may be more inventory out there available. So that's a way for them to expand their business. So they're really kind of setting everything in place right now, taking advantage of the rates now versus continuing to increase. Some of them were doing that at the beginning of the year, which really maximize their time with the rates. Some that are seeing the rates doing what they're doing, we're very busy refinancing right now. Like I said, putting money aside and taking cash out for their expansion, just to get ready, because they really believe there'll be a chance for them to continue to do expansion. So overall, in a nutshell, if really having a challenge and stuff, please keep in mind access to capital. There's the organization, there's grants, there's money out there to help you having that access to capital and continue your business so it does not fail. So there's money out there. I know I referred quite a few clients to our organization, the Valley Economic Alliance. We have a business economic department, and they do a fabulous job. Brent is his name, right, Erica?
Brett Dixon.
He does a fabulous job referring clients to them. And then we have, so ask for that. And then if you are in good shape right now, set up your lines, set up your loans, just so you can be, don't struggle later on. And then again, if you're in good shape and you want to expand, some are doing the refinances or just getting lines of credit right now to have cash on hand. So that's pretty much overall to the various ways you can access to capital itself. And I know we're kind of I want to make sure we're okay with our time. So are there any questions for me? I don't see any. Any questions that we have for Margaret at this point? Because I know we want to leave a few more minutes just to make sure we cover any additional questions that may come up for her.
Armida, I just had a quick question. Do you think it's a good
Yes.
idea that they take the cash out? Do you think that's a good idea for businesses to do?
Some of them, it will help them in order for them to be able to be on the game, as we say. And some of them are very, very savvy investors. They've been doing this for 25 years, 30 years. Because what's happening now is the inventory out there is very limited at times. So the ones that are able to close the deal or come up with the cash up front or the funds up front will win the deal. Versus someone who is, they'll say, okay, let me just pay it up front with the cash or use my line that I have available, pay it up front, and then you'll give them time to do the permanent financing for that property. So that's the way for them to do it. Because we've seen a lot of big investor money groups coming in. You see, especially West, at Warner Center, when you look at buying and selling, you hear a lot of times people out of state. They have this big buying everything away from our local individuals. So, yes.
Thank you so much.
It's helping them increase the million, and now they're at 100 million in assets now, and they're doing pretty well.
That's great.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but you have to know what you're doing, because it could be
Right.
risky if you don't. Yeah, you don't want to you don't want to buy something and then take a loss on it. So
This is great.
that's always the thing
I
too.
see a hand.
Investors that they know their items. Other questions?
Monica has her hand up.
Good morning to everyone. Thank you for the presentation. My question is, I've been in residential income property management and construction and interior design, but always except for once, always for myself or my family. Now I want to do it for others and get away from my property, do it less. This question is for Margaret. I don't do any social media at all. I'm a virgin to that, except for internations, which is more, well, we do charity, we do networking. It kept me going during COVID. We had a lot of, you have classes with people all over the world. But since I provide a service or the residential, they're furnished, by the way. I went furnished because of the rent control and all the moratoriums. So I'm doing furnished for now until maybe
Okay,
this
so
past.
let me
So is there
see if
certain
I understand.
websites besides Airbnb that you recommend?
Oh, okay,
Or how do I put myself? Like yesterday, I made Superhost again for the whatever. I don't know how many
so
years.
you need to definitely start an Instagram, 100%, but
Oh.
don't, I mean, get creative with it. And that's all I can say in this tiny bit of time, is get creative with it. If you can do a discovery session with me, because we can get really creative with this. I've seen some people do all of their leasing
Mhm.
and vacation leasing using Instagram, not even using another service.
Wow.
Yeah, but that's very exciting. I'm excited for you. And just so you know, I'm a member of Internations as well.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, I've been a member for 10 years.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, I just learned
Or
about them while I
11
was
years.
in London earlier this year.
Yeah, it's so awesome because you can go anywhere, and it's for all age groups, everyone.
Yeah,
And
it's
we have
basically like people who
yeah,
work all over.
yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Such a small world.
So start an Instagram. So I thought that was just people looking at pictures.
It is people looking at pictures and being influenced to make purchases.
Okay, so okay. Yeah. Because for example, I have a 4-bedroom, 3-bath townhouse, and it's the lowest. We're 2 blocks from Beverly Hills border here off of La Cienega, and
La Cienega and what?
La Cienega and Pico.
Oh, that's a great location.
Exactly.
Wow.
And I don't have anyone. They're leaving. They've been here since December. They're leaving.
What's the rent?
Well, I mean, if I include the utilities with a cap, it's like $6,250.
And it's 4 bedrooms? 3
4
bedrooms?
bedrooms. Yeah.
4 bedrooms. Wow. Is it open for like a roommate share, or is it just for one family?
Yeah. No. By law,
Okay, so that helps your marketing as well. Because 6,200 for 4 people at that location,
yeah, it's nothing.
that's nothing.
I'm the
But
lowest.
this goes back to what we said.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this goes back to what we said. It's good to promote and share what you have out there available and take advantage of the digital and the relationship marketing and stuff. So with that, it actually concludes our meeting at this point. So
I still have
wanna
a
go ahead
question
and
for you, Armida.
once again,
How do you start the because I've always
okay.
done everything on my own, in other words, yes, I have a business checking account, but other than that, when I have in the past cashed out money, it was always on my residence.
Yep.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
All
So
my credit
start
is under my
setting up,
person too.
right. So you may want to start with the business credit card just to get you going. And then as you're under, the
And
SBA program helps with as
what
more
do
of
they
a startup.
require for a business credit card versus a personal?
They'll run your personal credit.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
but
they
you
still
have to
run
have a
your-
business name set up. Yeah.
They still run your
Right,
personal
right,
credit.
so they have
Okay.
that up.
Okay.
Correct, right, so they can have
Thank
years
you.
they can give you for. So with that, I know it's 11 o'clock, so thank you everyone that attended. We really appreciate it. Again, we want to thank the Valley Economic Alliance for helping this happen, the sponsors, Pacific Premier Bank, and the San Fernando Journal for doing this. And please, the contact information was in the chat. Reach out to us with additional questions you may have, and we'll be more than happy to continue helping you. And like I said, that's the whole purpose of this program, so we can get you guys out there. So thank you again. Have a wonderful day. And Margaret, Erica, thanks again.
Thank you,
Thank
Armida, very
you.
much. Thank you,
All right.
Bye,
Margaret.
everyone.
Bye,
Bye.
thank you.
Thank you.
I'll reach out, Margaret, in a few
All
days.
right.
Thank you.
you.
Bye-bye.